Hello everyone, welcome to Trades Talk Tuesday. I am your host, Pop. And just to give you a little background for me, I've been in the skilled trades for about 25 years and counting. I am in the millwright trade, which is in installing and repairing industrial equipment. So I have a vast array of experience in many different fields. And yes, I'm going to explain to you today maybe how to get into the skilled trades if you're interested and what to expect. We'll also look over a little bit of what are the trades that are available out there for you to look at and maybe get into. But first of all, I'd like to welcome everyone from the Rumble side. If you are watching me on Rumble, how are you? Good to see you. And also broadcasting on Twitch. Hello to you, all you Twitch people out there. And on YouTube. And a welcome to you, Serranos. Nice to see you. Yes, as I so often do, this is episode number 33. I had to skip out last week due to internet trouble from my internet service provider who had to replace some equipment because my upload speed was just god-awful slow and it wouldn't have been worth it for me. But now, hopefully things are okay. And let's begin, as I so often do, by looking at some of the news in the industry, from Plant Magazine. You can look into it, and usually by reading the headlines in industry here, you can tell whether things are going well or not, as far as businesses that are booming and all the things that are happening. The more that's happening, the better the economy is. The things that aren't, if there's not a lot of things happening, then you're going to have a pretty terrible economy. So we'll start out here and look through the news. Employees are often collateral damage when activist investors come calling. That doesn't sound like very good for the employees. What are they getting at with this article? Let's have a look. Experts say 1,500 recently announced job losses at Suncor are an example of the type of collateral damage that can occur when an activist investor comes calling. The Calgary headquartered oil company, which has operations in Canada, US, and internationally, confirmed the job reductions Thursday, less than 2 months after new CEO Rich Kruger took the reins at Suncor with a mandate to reduce costs and improve the company's lagging financial performance. Kruger, the former CEO of Imperial Oil, was lured out of retirement to try and turn Suncor around just a year after US-based Elliott Investment Management, which at the time owned a 3.4% economic interest in Suncor, began aggressively pushing for change at the company, whose share price had lagged over its peers in recent years. Last month, Kruger hinted job reductions could be coming, saying in an interview he would look hard and long at the work people do to ensure that everything being done at the company adds value to the bottom line. Rich Power, associate professor at the Rotman School of Management at the University of Toronto, said those working at Suncor would have been wise to be nervous as soon as it became clear Elliott had their employer in its sights. They'd be naive not to think that they might be affected by this. An activist investor is going to try to rationalize costs, and one of the highest costs you're going to have is labor costs. He added that activist investors target companies they feel are underperforming and where they believe they have identified a plan to unlock more value. I'm certainly not trying to minimize the contribution of employees, but to a large part the employees are the low-hanging fruit, Power said. Cost-cutting is rarely the sole aim of activist investors, most of whom are well-versed in the companies they target and come to the board with expansive proposals for change. At Suncor, for example, Elliott Investment Management successfully pushed the company to complete a strategic review on the merits of holding onto its Petro-Canada retail chain, and has also called on the company to improve its workplace safety record. From second-hand stories that I've heard, there is quite a few accidents up in the oil sands and such. So they should be very strict on their safety, but still people do get hurt. However, there's no denying that employees often get caught in the crossfire when activist investors get involved. There were thousands of job losses at Canadian Pacific Railway, now Canadian Pacific Kansas City, after well-known activist Bill Ackman successfully campaigned in 2012 for Hunter Harrison to replace Fred Green as CEO and implement an ambitious cost-cutting plan. More recently in the U.S., companies such as Walt Disney Company and Facebook parent Meta have also announced major layoffs and restructuring plans in the aftermath of public pressure from activists. Power said companies have a fiduciary duty to their shareholders, and in some cases an activist investor may be right in pointing out that a company's head count needs to be trimmed in order to maximize profits. Remember, the activists, have done their homework, he said. That may be where the costs have to come from. But Anthony Shine, Director of Shareholder Advocacy with the Shareholder Association for Research and Education, said companies are accountable to other stakeholders, not just shareholders. We at Share certainly take the perspective that, of course, maximizing profit is an obligation of corporate directors and management, but it's not the only obligation either. He added that activist investing can be risky, as it can sacrifice long-term value and vital human resources for short-term share price appreciation. We've seen over and over again when companies aren't paying attention to their people and how they manage and develop their people, then we see skills gaps, labor shortages, and safety risks. So much of what a company like Suncor has is its know-how that comes from people, and there's no way of getting around that at a company. Suncor said Thursday it's committed to treating its employees with dignity and respect throughout what will inevitably be a difficult process. The company also emphasized it will not make any cuts that could affect worker safety. Yeah, you guys are usually under a big microscope anyway. But this is where companies have to watch out. You get the activist investors that are shouting and making noise. But if you lose your employees that know things, then you're going to be in trouble. So anybody that is confident and competent in what they do and confident in what they do, they will have no trouble finding another job somewhere else if they start getting pushed around by these guys. You should always want to do your best by your shareholders, but when you say shareholders, you'd be talking about people that actually hold the shares, not just investing and trying to flip theirs for a profit. Yes, I can't stand those guys that are like day traders, or, it's an investment group that was these guys were talking to about anyway. The investment group picks their guy to be on the board, and he starts pushing people around. That's not right. I agree. Companies need to make profits. It has to be to keep the company going. No one runs a company to break even. But as long as the employers are treated fairly, and they're compensated fairly and whatever like that, and they do their job, because a well-trained employee is a lot better than a brand new employee that needs this training and everything, so they get more out of it. Yeah, if they want to invest and pull out in less than or more than 2 years, they never have the company's best interest in mind. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you don't care. You're just about slashing costs, maximizing profits, and then getting out. You don't care what happens to the company. And those are the people they got to watch out for. So you got to clamp down on those people and not let them have their way just because they're quote-unquote activist investors. What do we got here? GM to invest more than $1 billion in 2 Flint, Michigan plants. Vehicle sales rise in May, showing hope for strong summer. DesRosiers. Oh, here we go. I saw this one. This one made me laugh. Bombardier warns Ottawa against going with Boeing on military plane contract. Of course they're going to warn Ottawa. Bombardier is the Canadian company that builds military planes, and Boeing is their competition. I mean, come on. Montreal, warning about sole source contracts and the fallacy of an urgent need to buy now. Bombardier said Wednesday that Ottawa would be erring if it opts to go with Boeing when it replaces Canada's aging military patrol planes. I would say get the best money, get the best value for your money. I don't care if it's Bombardier or Boeing. You're spending a lot of money. First of all, get the planes you want and just get them for a good price. Montreal-based business Jetmaker joined forces this year with U.S. rival General Dynamics on a surveillance aircraft with submarine hunting technology. The plane would be a modified version of the Global 6500 jet, equipped with tech and sensors from General Dynamics Mission System Canada, an Ottawa-based subsidiary of the Virginia Defense Contractor. Okay. They don't want to be competing with Boeing? No, of course not. It's a private business, and you're telling government, oh, you shouldn't go with Boeing. I would have told them, shut up and if you do a good job and build a good product, then people will buy it. Don't try to dissuade them from going with the competition. And bring something good to the table, and they'll buy it from you. Man, stop using government to tilt it in your favor. Both partners are calling on the federal government to launch an open procurement process to supplant the Armed Forces 14 CP-140 Aurora Maritime Patrol planes, built by Lockheed Martin and set to retire in 2030 after a half-century of service. My God, we've had those things for 50 years? Whew. I'd say we got our money's worth out of them, that's for sure. The federal government said it is still weighing its options for the multi-billion-dollar contract, but in March it stated that Boeing's P-8A Poseidon is the only currently available aircraft that meets all of the CMMA, which is the Canadian Multi-Mission Aircraft operational requirements, particularly around intelligence gathering, surveillance, and anti-submarine warfare. The statement followed a letter of request for an offer on 16 Poseidons sent via the U.S. government's Foreign Military Sales Program. That February 2022 ask does not commit Canada to purchasing the P-8A Poseidon, and the project remains in option analysis. The government said the final decision will be based on capability and pricing as well as benefits to Canadian industry, it added. Nonetheless, Bombardier saw the letter and subsequent actions as tantamount to a sole source bidding process. Boeing is saying that they have a much better platform. If that's really the case, I fully encourage Boeing to tell the Canadian government we should go into competition, Bombardier Defense Executive Vice President Jean-Christophe Gallagher told reporters in Ottawa on Wednesday. Our platform not only burns 30% less fuel, it flies further, faster, higher, it delivers on all of Canada's requirements, and it does better than the American aircraft, he claimed. Okay, well, show us. Get your plane out there. Show them what they can do. Don't just yap it up. The remarks come after Boeing Defense President Ted Colbert told La Presse in an interview Tuesday that the fledgling Bombardier General Dynamics plane is not in the same class as its P-8 Poseidon. Hey, DJ Ronnie G, good to see you. We're just going over an article about Bombardier, who makes planes, military planes and such. They're a Canadian business. Going up against Boeing, because the Canadian government wants to looks like they want to buy their planes from Boeing. Let's see. Gallagher swung back the next day with a dose of humor, calling the comment fully correct. We have a modern aircraft, and their aircraft is built out of a 1970s design. Taking media questions at a defense trade show, he deemed the P-8 an end-of-the-line aircraft, while Bombardier spokesman Mark Masluch referred to the undue urgency around securing a replacement plane as a fallacy. Boeing has said it may retire the plane within a couple of years if Canada doesn't place orders. Okay. It does better, but does Boeing's do what they need it to do for cheaper? That's the thing. Does it do that? At a presentation on the tarmac of the Ottawa airport attended by U.S. Ambassador Dave Cohen, Colbert said Tuesday that Boeing offered an aircraft that is already available rather than being in development. Though Colbert did not mention any companies by name. Like Bombardier and General Dynamics, Boeing also sought to tout its Canadian bona fides. The aircraft giant's P-8A would sustain more than 2,900 jobs and generate $358 million in economic output in Canada annually, according to a Boeing commissioned study by management consultants Doyle Tech Corp. In strong collaboration with our Canadian industry, P8 partners and our extensive supply chain in country, we appreciate the opportunity to build upon our more than 100-year relationship with Canada and grow our Canadian partnerships and investments, Colbert said in a statement Tuesday. The federal government has noted the P8's prevalence among Canadian allies. This platform is a proven capability that is operated by several of Canada's defense partners, including all of its Five Eye allies, the United States, United Kingdom, Australia, New Zealand, as well as Norway and South Korea. Germany has also recently purchased this platform, Public Services and Procurement Canada said in its March 27th statement. Bombardier and Boeing have clashed before. In 2020, the former sold its remaining stake in the A220 jetliner program, marking the end of its failed bid to take on the commercial aircraft duopoly of Airbus and Boeing. In 2018, a U.S. trade panel ruled that Boeing suffered no harm due to competition from Bombardier, despite the U.S. plane maker's claim that its northern rival sold C-Series jets to Delta Airlines at absurdly low prices, while enjoying subsidies from the federal and Quebec governments. The spat was spiraling upward before the decision, with Ottawa threatening to ditch plans to purchase 18 fighter jets from Boeing. And just so you guys know, we always hear about bailouts of the government for Bombardier, so they weren't wrong saying that they're subsidized. The government always gives the Bombardier money because it's a Quebec company and they get special treatment. So the government's always going to give Bombardier money. Our hard-earned taxpayer money. So, next up. Demand for Sea-Doos buoys BRP profits as revenue ramps up despite flat sector. No deal yet on electric vehicle battery plant in Windsor. China's Commerce Minister meets Tesla's Musk, promises support to foreign companies. Toyota to invest $2.1 billion more in a new North Carolina battery plant. Will build big SUV at factory in Kentucky. China factory activity slows, adding to economic strains. I don't think I made it to that one. Yeah, because I missed the 31st. That's right. Or the 30th. Okay, what looks interesting here? What looks interesting? I'm always interested in what's going on in China because we rely so much on them. And I wish we wouldn't. I wish we'd have our own factories to produce our own stuff so that we don't get held up by China and their problems. Last one. We'll do this last one and then we'll move along. China's manufacturing slowdown deepened in May as consumer and export demand weakened. A survey showed Wednesday, adding to signs an economic rebound following the end of antivirus controls is slowing. Chinese leaders are under pressure to shore up the recovery after a survey found a record 1 in 5 young workers in cities were unemployed. Consumer spending in April was weaker than expected, and factory output declined compared with the previous month. The monthly Purchasing Managers Index issued by the National Statistics Agency and the industry group retreated to 48.4 from April's 49.2 on a 100-point scale. Numbers below 50 show activity declining. The decline suggests that the risk of a downward spiral, especially in the manufacturing sector, is becoming more real, said Nomura, economists in a report. They said the PMI is likely to remain in negative territory in June. Chinese manufacturers have been hurt by weakening global demand after central banks in the United States, Europe, and Asia raised interest rates to cool inflation. At home, Chinese consumer spending revived after antivirus curbs on travel and business activity were lifted in December, but the recovery has been weaker than expected. Economic growth accelerated to 4.5% over a year earlier in the 3 months ending in March from the previous quarter, 2.9%, but growth will have a rise further to hit the ruling Communist Party's annual target of around 5%. A measure of new orders fell from 48.3 from April's 48.5 on a similar 100-point scale. According to the National Bureau of Statistics and the China Federation of Logistics and Purchasing, an index of export orders declined to 47.2 from the previous month's 47.6. Survey suggests China's economic recovery was still ongoing in May, albeit at a slower pace, said Capital Economics in a report. Industry is struggling and fiscal support for construction waning, but the service sector is still seeing decent gains. Oh well. So sad. That's too bad. Oh well. Anyway, as the meme goes. That's all right. Let's move along now. After looking at a few of these headlines, I found an article about the shortage of skilled trades. And this is by Sask Today. I'm assuming that means Saskatchewan. 9 in 10 Canadian construction companies say they're dealing with a shortage of skilled labor or trades, and it's affecting their ability to bid on projects and meet deadlines amid unprecedented demand. The industry widely views digital technology as a solution to addressing those shortages, according to a survey of 275 construction companies released Tuesday by KPMG Canada. Okay, well, why do they... First of all, before even reading this, my first question is, why is digital technology a solution to addressing the shortages? You need skilled trades. You need the young generation to go into the trade schools, learn it, get out into industry, get an apprenticeship, and become your next generation of skilled trades workers. So unless you're going to tell me that this is going to help you do that, I'm not buying it. Anyways, it continues. We're hearing across the industry that there are shortages of people, said Tom Rothfischer, the national industry leader for KPMG and Canada's building, construction, and real estate practice. Technology is not something that they historically had a lot of time for, in my experience, and to see this recalibration was a real eye-opener for us, and it's a welcome eye-opener. Survey respondents said Canada's construction industry has been slow to adopt new digital technologies, with nearly three-quarters feeling the sector lags behind other countries in that regard, but that the pandemic has intensified the sector's need to adapt. Mary Van Buren, president of the Canadian Construction Association, attributed those lags to Canada's harsh climate and reliance on public procurement processes, which prioritize low-cost bids. When you're putting in a low-cost bid, there's very little room for innovation. There's very little room to try new things because the risk is generally downloaded to the contractor. Unless we move to different models, whether it's best value or we use more collaborative models where there's sharing of the risk and the benefits among those who are buying construction and those who are doing construction, then it's going to be tougher to see greater adoption of technology. She said approximately 75% of Canada's construction industry consists of small businesses with 5 or fewer employees, which makes adoption of new technology more financially challenging. But Rothfischer said increased use of digital tools such as robots and drones can help companies save time and money, reduce waste, and improve worker safety. Well, unless you're using the drones for like inspections, you still have to have somebody that operates them. And it's not something that every company is going to use because it would be a waste of money for them to use that. If you're doing like stuff with drainage and such, yeah, it makes sense. You want to have, your little robot or whatever go in there and find out if their pipe is still broken or if it can fix it or whatever, where the blockage may be, and maybe help remove the blockage. But other than that, there's got to be other things that not every company is going to run out there and buy a drone for just because they're not at the leading edge of technology. It says around 46% of companies said they plan to spend more than 11% of their corporate operating budget on tech and digital transformation, while 1/3 anticipated spending 6 to 10%. Yeah, use a drone to drive a truck. I'm sure that'll... Yeah. No, that's... I don't know what these people are thinking when they're writing these articles. I just shake my head reading through. Some are good. I've read some good articles, but most of them are just people that don't have a clue. They've never even been in the skilled trades, probably never even lifted up a hammer in their life. They wouldn't know which end to hold. So it's just kind of frustrating sometimes. Jordan Thompson, Senior Manager of Infrastructure Advisory at KPMG, pointed to technologies used in the manufacturing sector such as 3D printing, which has been adopted for the construction industry to lay concrete and build complex steel shapes, along with drone-based surveying, which can help contractors accurately lay out work and monitor project progress. Van Buren also highlighted the increase of the exoskeletons, which she called helping devices. Go away. There we go. You can imagine you're working over your head a lot, your arms and shoulders get fatigued. Those exoskeletons take some of the pressure off, she said. I have never seen an exoskeleton. I don't know where they're pulling this out of. Like, what have you guys? I've never seen one yet. Not even advertised in any of the magazines for the trades. So, not saying they're not out there, but that is an oddball thing. Like you're a real rich company just looking to waste money if you're just buying an exoskeleton. Hey, Ronan66, what carrier I'm talking to today? Mexican Iron Man has one. He's got an exoskeleton? Man, oh man. You've seen them in tech stuff, but it's entirely focused on medical procedures to help people. Oh, okay. This sounds like they're like using them as like a suit, a powered suit or whatever to lift stuff. Kind of like an Iron Man thing. He is Iron. Yes, of course he is. He's Mexican Iron Man. They're seeing all kinds of new helping devices come out as well, which should help workers to be able to work more productively and hopefully attract some other workers to our industry. Other examples of technological adoption include robots that can lay bricks and tie steel reinforcement bars. Thompson said contractors have increasingly been using Boston Dynamics' mobile robot dog known as Spot, which is capable of navigating terrain in order to automate routine inspections and capture data. Using it to free up a field engineer to do more value-added kind of activity. I don't agree with that. Get that engineer out there. They don't need to sit behind a desk as more than they do now. Get that engineer out there in the field. That's the worst thing you could ever have is an engineer that just sits behind his desk. They need to get out into the field more often, I think. Jokes aside, of course, yeah. Japan has exoskeletons for warehouse stuff. Okay. I don't think it's a question of replacing people. I think it's a question of empowering people that we will have and doing more with less. There's so much work out there that a project cannot be done because there's just not enough people to do it. Yeah, that's it. So this article fell off the rails talking about the skilled trades and the shortage of them. I think anyway. It's like it's just they don't even talk about anything about training the younger generation or getting them interested in it or opening their eyes to it for that's the thing too, is letting them know it's like, hey, these jobs, they are not something to be looked down on. You can own your own business and be in the skilled trades and earn lots of money, work as much or as little as you want, make your own hours, do what you like to do. You got to make sure it's a trade that you want to do. You see the 3D printed houses. I've seen something like it, yeah, where the thing's going around and laying the brick walls, or it's printing them. It's printing the brick walls out of concrete. You want to see real suits like the ones from Forever War and Starship Troopers 3? Well, maybe soon. Yeah, getting engineers on site more often seems like it would be super. Yes, it is. I can attest to that personally because we have, 1, 2, 3, for sure 3 engineers, and they have projects going on our site. And if they don't show up, I just get pissed off at them because it's like, look, this is your project. You're in charge of this. You get on site. Don't just dump it off on me just because I'm the maintenance guy. You come here and you make sure your parts show up. You make sure that the contractor that you hired are doing things right. Don't dump it off on me. I got my own stuff to do rather than babysit your project. You don't want to talk about labor prices. The Guardian Exo robot for lifting. It costs over 100,000 K a year. Oh, that's why. You want Gundams? Gotta wait a little longer there, Ronan. A little longer. Assuming you can use it 2 shifts per day, that's split between 2 employees. You're paying 50K plus for, yeah. Yeah, you sure are. Well, now you guys got me interested in this. They did mention that, so let's have a look here. Industrial exoskeleton. Skeleton. Is that it? Korean shipbuilder testing industrial exoskeletons for future cybernetic workforce. Huh. I mean, looks like a 1/2-inch thick piece of plate steel he's got there. He's still picking up with his bare hands, it looks like anyway. Huh. Not the one you were looking at, Serranos? It's made in Korea. It's probably a lot cheaper. What do we got? Something like this? Sacros Robotics? Or Sarcos? Are we getting this one? No, video is not available. Huh. Yeah, from Aliens. There you go. Yeah, that's what it was showing. I think it adds 200 plus pounds of lift capacity. Okay. I mean, at our place, you're only supposed to lift 50 pounds, and then after that, you're supposed to get help or use like a forklift or something. Okay, he's got looks like an I-beam. The Timken Company. I've heard of them before. Huh. I doubt we'd see one. I mean, we have cranes, we have come-alongs, we have chain falls. Until the price comes down, I doubt we're gonna see it on the average job site. Okay. Huh. Alright, well, that's the old exoskeleton. Finally sort of seen one. Well, we'll see what happens. I feel like the most useful situation would be in a warehouse where you can't use a forklift. Yes, tight spaces. Yeah, I could see that. But then why'd you design your building to not use forklifts? Yeah, there you go, exactly. Smarten up, architects, designers. So out there's a lot of trades. There's a lot of different ones. And anyone that's been on the channel before, you know that I've gone through this list before, and there is a lot of them out there. You have got a lot to choose from depending on what you feel like doing, what you think would be fun, or what you would excel in as being in the trades. And it's alphabetical: agricultural technician, appliance technician, auto body, lots of auto bodies, prepper, finisher, repairer, an automotive service technician, baker, a barber, a boilermaker, a bricklayer. You got a cabinet maker, carpenter, cathodic protection, level 1 and level 2. So what cathodic protection is, we do this where I'm at, it's for pipelines. And they put a voltage through the pipeline, very small millivolts, and it's to stop the pipeline from degrading. Because when you're carrying gases like hydrogen or, petroleum products, hydrogen sulfide, stuff like that, it's a catastrophic event if your pipeline breaks down. So the cathodic protection is supposed to help keep the pipe from breaking down. Communication technician, concrete finisher, construction craft worker, cook, crane and hoisting equipment operator for a boom truck, a mobile crane, a tower crane, wellhead boom truck. So yeah, I looked into being a crane operator, and yeah, it's a 3-year apprenticeship, which is all right. I don't mind that. It's just getting your hours in, but then you're always traveling around because you're never. The jobs don't come to you when you're a crane operator. You take the crane, you drive it over to where it has to go, or you set it up there, and then you sit and wait. Because a lot of the time they're not ready for the lift, and crane operators do tend to sit around a bit. But when your crane's on site, you're getting paid. So maybe a company buys the wrong size building and are stuck with it. Could be DJ Ronnie G. And hello, Whoopa Troopa. Good to see ya. Nice of you to stop by. I saw you on your. I saw your stream before starting mine up, and I like the fact that you were able to beat that level in time. That was fun stuff. The second level, you didn't kick your ass like the first one did. Good, nice. That's good to hear. Moving along here. Yeah, we're up to electromotor systems technician, electrician, elevator constructor, field heat treatment technician, floor covering installer, gas utility operator, a gas fitter, class A and B, a glazer. Glazer does glass. They cut and install glass in a variety of places. Hairstylist, heavy equipment technician. Full disclosure, I took my first and second year of heavy equipment technician, but I didn't have a journeyman to learn under because he left while I was halfway through, so I had to drop that trade I had to drop that as my secondary trade. So that's okay though. I learned a bit from that, and it's okay. I don't mind. Industrial construction crew supervisor, industrial mechanic / millwright. So that's my trade. Instrumentation and control technician. A couple weeks back, I had on my guest. B-Man was a instrumentation and controls technician, and we had a good chat about his journey through the trades and becoming an instrumentation and control technician. Is there a job for a professional gaslighter? I'd be good at that. You know what? We can always make one. I think if Whoopstotska comes up with that as a job that you need a trades ticket for, I think that would be the best one. You can be an insulator, an iron worker, a couple of different iron workers, metal building systems erector, reinforcing, structural and ornamental, landscape horticulturist, a lather, interior systems mechanic, locksmith, machinist, metal fabricator fitter, motorcycle mechanic, natural gas compression technician. Natural gas compression technician, you'll be dealing with engines that are obviously running natural gas or compress the natural gas to move it, but also those natural gas engines are the ones that run the power plants. So you might be able to work in a power plant. Oil and gas transportation services, outdoor power equipment technician, recreational, overhead door technician level 1, overhead door technician level 2. You couldn't pay me enough to be an overhead door technician. I do not want to deal with the high pressure or the highly compressed springs they use to lift the doors up. Those are wicked dangerous, and I like to stay away from them. You have natural gas? Well, I know you do. It's probably methane. DJ Ronnie G. Painter and decorator, parts technician, materials technician, and parts technician. I didn't realize there was 2 different ones for that. Plumber, power systems electrician, power line technician, recreation vehicle service technician, refrigeration and air conditioning mechanic. Okay, getting into that stuff. You're going to be busy. Doing HVAC, heating, ventilation, air conditioning. You're busy in the wintertime because people need a furnace to keep warm. And you're busy in the summertime because everybody wants their air conditioner to work. So you will always have lots of work if you're working in the HVAC area. Residential construction site manager, a roofer, sheet metal worker. These guys, sheet metal workers, they get called for all sorts of stuff, making ductwork and everything. They're always busy. Putting sides on buildings, on putting roofs on metal buildings. And they can make some pretty slick stuff. Slickline services, all levels. Snubbing services, all levels. I think this is for the oil industry. I haven't done much in the oil industry, so I don't know. Your grandpa used to light the gas street lamps when he was 12. Oh, there you go. Gas street lamps. Nice. Sprinkler systems installer, steam fitter, pipe fitter, steel detailer, transport refrigeration technician, water well driller with earth loop technician, welder wire process. I don't know why you'd separate the 2 out. I know, okay, there's wire welding, but then I would think to be an overall useful welder, you should be able to do stick, wire, TIG, all that stuff. But those are the lists of all the trades that are out there, at least the ones that are in Alberta anyway. There is going to be a lot of crossover, obviously, for the States and that. You got a bad joke for me? Okay, lay it on me, Whoopa. I'm bracing myself for it. Lay it on me. I'm ready. At least I think I'm ready. What do you call a lazy welder with bad intentions? Oh, I don't know. I give up. A ne'er-do-well. Oh. I'm stealing that, though. I'm going to use that. He was also steam fitter on a Liberty ship in the Pacific during World War II. That is awesome. I like that, DJ Ronnie G. Steam fitter. Good stuff. All right. What's next? You say? I'm going to show you some pictures and of some of the things I've done, and you can all have a look. But before that, I think it's time for a commercial, everybody. Are you ready for the commercial?
Oh, hey there, everybody. How are you? Well, I don't always play video games, but when I do, I make sure to safely make a safety save in a safe environment. And if you don't know how to make a safety save, well then make sure you check out Pop Culture Mechanics, 9 a.m. Mountain Time and 10 a.m. Central on Saturday mornings, where you can learn how to make a safety save that you might be so excited you could dance if you wanna. So, come on and check out Pop Culture Mechanics on Saturday mornings. Going to see you there. Bye.
Finally! Yes! Whew! My God! There you go, a little commercial featuring Drunk Waddle. Little bit of a advertisement for my game stream, thanks to him. Placing one Canadian with another. Okay, yes. So, as you may or may not be aware right now, the place I work at is a chemical plant, and we are on a shutdown, which means that all the equipment that usually runs 24/7 finally gets turned off and worked on, repaired, replaced, rebuilt. That is what's going on right now. And what I am going to show you is that one. Yeah, that one first. Move it over a little. One of the things that is getting replaced is a giant heating coil. And in case you want to know what that looks like, there's what it looks like. That's the end shot of it. End view. It's got two openings. In the top is where the molten sulfur goes. It goes in, and the bottom is where it comes out. So there's a better look at it from the side view. As you can see, it's quite a long coil. It goes and it loops around, and then it comes down, and it loops around, and it comes down, and it loops around. So it makes quite a few loops, and it's quite. If you took that apart and stretched it out, it would be very long. I'm not sure how long, but as you can see, it's quite. Yes, liquid hot magma, but it's not magma. It's molten sulfur. And these I-beams here are just to steady it. So the bottom half of this framework that are made up of I-beams, that is strictly to hold this thing up. The legs right there, there, and there are what it stands up on. So when it goes into its vessel, this top I-beam won't be there. The bottom one won't be there. So it was necessary to, and this is just how we store it. It gets stored like this so it doesn't fall over. It's got these boomers with the chain. Keep it tight so it doesn't move over or fall over, because the metal is special in which it is at cold temperatures or room temperature or outside or whatever it is, it's brittle. But once it heats up to 1300 degrees Fahrenheit, 1300 degrees Fahrenheit, it gets a lot stronger. So the colder it is, the more brittle the steel is. The hotter it is, the better it can withstand the stresses and strains. I don't know what the special metal is, but I could definitely find out for you guys. And there's a shot of the backside of it. So yes, this is what starts the process of heating up the molten sulfur so that it can get split, because that's what we do. We split sulfur into two elements: hydrogen sulfide, which is deadly poison, and carbon disulfide, which is a solvent. Molten sulfur would be fun to play with if it wasn't so hazardous. Oh, and it's actually molten sulfur. If you take it out of the sulfur pit we have and dump it on the piece of steel, and once it gets past that heating point of 315 Fahrenheit, it goes down, it'll start to solidify. There's a very narrow margin of it to remain viscous. And I believe that's from like 305 to 320 degrees Fahrenheit is where their sulfur remains molten and is able to flow like water. But any cooler or any hotter, and it'll solidify on you like right now. The steel on the Falcon Super Heavy rocket gets stronger at cryogenic temperatures. Okay, so it's really cold that it gets stronger. Yeah, metallurgy is cool. When I was going through my pre-apprenticeship, we did metallurgy, and they had us make punches, a perk punch, a center punch, and a drift, and we had to harden them and then anneal them. So the hardening, obviously, you heated it up and then quenched it, and then you put it in an oven to anneal it, which would make it not as brittle. So yeah, I've done a little bit when it comes to metallurgy. Those zip ties, are they UV zip ties? Maybe, but those things aren't on there anymore. We've installed this in there now. Yeah, so you have to get the special zip ties. Yeah, the ones that are a little more resistant to UV. Otherwise, these will just crumble. Yeah, I know I've got some more here. But yeah, shutdown is pretty crazy right now. I've been, depending on the job I'm on, sometimes I will have to work 10, 12-hour days. Today was nice because it was just 8 hours, but I was taking a compressor apart. Now, this compressor is from 1967, and it's a T compressor, which means that it uses you got a motor that runs a shiv that goes to a crank, and the crank pushes a rod back and forth. And on this rod are two pistons, a high pressure piston and a low pressure piston. So it just runs back and forth, reciprocates, and it makes the pressure that way. And like I say, this thing's from 1967, so we have to be careful. Parts aren't exactly easy to come by, but it's been running for this long. We need to rebuild it again, and hopefully in the next 2 years we can replace it with something brand new. Oh snap! Yeah. So that's good. It's nice. So this compressor rebuild will take about 10 days. Yeah, there's 2 of us on it. I have an apprentice with me, and we are doing our best to get this thing apart. But yes, 10 days working on this, and hopefully we'll have it back up and running. We're going to try some new valves on it. I can't remember if I had any. Oh. These are valves from a different compressor. You guys can see that. I took my camera to work with me, and that is I believe it's an inlet valve. And that's me taking it apart. So there you go. You can see some dismantling of a inlet valve for an air compressor. Or it's a gas compressor now, but it was originally an air compressor. It's a little tough to pull apart, but you'll see why. Hey Godzillionaire, thanks for lurking today, buddy. There we go. Not much to them. Couple of rings. Right? Those are the rings that do the sealing. Making it in real life safety save. Yeah. There's the springs that they ride on, so that it can open and close and let the air through. And I'm just checking to see if I can pull those out. Nope. I'm gonna have to use a hammer and a punch to get those out. You're bullying. What's wrong, pink skin? Yeah, you jealous of my blue skin? Let's see here. Make it a little bigger for you guys. Hammer and a punch. Takes a bit to get it out. Andorian. There we go. Got all three of them out. And after you do that, you put them in the sandblaster. Shran, was he the Andorian? Was it played by Jeffrey Combs? Same guy that played Weyoun. These ones might look so good because they were focusing on the window that had all the sand blasted. I'll have to do some new ones. Put in a new glass and do it then. But yeah, you blast all the rust and everything and all the debris off the valve. Try to get it nice and clean. Yeah, that's better. There we go. So it's very handy having this sandblaster in the shop. It makes a lot of the cleaning go so much better. You were lurking, Godzillionaire. Did you hear we were engineer what were we doing? Not blasting them, but bashing. We were engineer bashing. At least I was. And Serranos too. He was helping me bash engineers. But yeah, there's two halves to do. Just got to do the other half here. You bash engineers constantly. There you go. And there's nothing wrong with that. They need it. They need something to knock them down a peg. Once they get that ring on their finger, they think they're all that. So you got to just put them back in, put them in their place. Your bedroom smells like Canadian wildfire smoke. Uh-oh. Is that from Halifax? From Nova Scotia? I was seeing that a lot on the news the other day about how they were having a hard time with fires. Okay, so once you do that, you do this. Get yourself a granite block. You leave your window open before work when your computer is running the video encoder. So yeah, a granite block with some fine sandpaper on it. Very fine grit. I think at least 600. Then you try to do figure eights so that you get it all even. And then you make the surface nice and clean. Nice and smooth. Because you want your rings to have a good place to seat as they're running. And we do the other side too. And you turn it a half a turn there, or a quarter turn, just so that you get a nice even wear on it. There you go. Yeah, it does look shinier than the last, doesn't it? And to keep going with this, so clean the ring as well. Give it a good figure eight. Try to get all the debris off of it. Brooklyn and Manhattan had a noticeable smoke tinge and scent in the air. Ah, yes. Yeah, we had that here about 2 weeks ago with the Alberta wildfires, and it was pretty bad. Like, we had to keep our windows closed because of the smoke, even though it was hot out. Yeah, and the next ring, because that needs to be done as well. Do a nice figure eight pattern. Shine it all up. Make it nice. I could even get some finer sandpaper if I wanted to really take out a lot of the scratches and such. But that should be good enough for what we need to do. Clean it up a bit. And was there anything else I was going to do? Can't remember. I'm getting close to the end of the video. Oh yes, clean it off with a little compressed air. And there we go, clean, ready for the next time. Ah yes, and I believe it's now time for assembling. There we go. You got your pins that the springs ride on. Make sure it bottoms out completely. There you go. Yep, make sure it's nice and flat. And okay, that was putting the pins in. We should be final assembly. Springs, yep, with guides. Put them on there. There we go. Next will be the rings. Inner ring. That goes on. Outer ring. That goes on. Make sure they ride up and down nicely. Yep. Because they will wear those pins on the side there. So you got to be careful. Make sure that the pins don't have any flat spots in them. Because the ring will get stuck on them. And then that'll be the end of that. It won't work very well anymore. And we screw it down with a socket head cap screw. Grab your Allen wrench. Give it a good tighten so it doesn't come apart. And there you have it. That is a rebuilt suction valve. Thumbs up. Trying to get it into frame. And there you go. That is how that's how you do a little bit of valve reconditioning. And this was taken in 2021, and as you can see, it's a crane with a basket on the end of it, and in the basket is people. People are in that basket doing work on this flare stack. This flare stack is where all the gases that are need to be gotten rid of, they go here and they get burned here. And this first level, that's the 100-foot mark. That second level, that's the 200-foot mark. So these guys are in their basket on the crane, 200 feet in the air. That is crazy, but that is quite the ride for them. That is a Ric Flair stack. Woo! Well, where's Jake D? We need him and his woo. But yes, that's I don't know if I'm ever gonna have to get to do that job, but we'll see. I've got quite a few years to go yet, so maybe, who knows, maybe I'll take pictures from up there one year and I'll show you guys what the view from up there is like. It'd be pretty awesome, but man, that's a nope for you. That's all right. There's no shame in that. I mean, heights aren't for everybody. That's what I've learned being in my years in industry, that not everybody can do everything. So there are the people that can, and they excel in what they do. If they're afraid of heights, then no, they don't go and do that stuff. And with good reason. And nobody looks down on them either. They're like, yep, hey, you're afraid of heights? That's fine. There we are. That's what it looks like, 100% zoomed in. What else do I got here? Trying to see if there's anything new and interesting. I think I might have a lot of pictures at work still, so I'll have to bring those home for next week. Nobody looks down on them. That's got to be a pun. It's an accidental pun. They're afraid of heights when yes, Godzillionaire, you're right. You've called me out on that one. Everyone would look down on them by default. You guys caught me. You got me. I'm okay with that. I'm just trying to see if I know there's stuff I've shown you already. Ironically, despite being afraid of heights, you love roller coasters. Those are fun. You get going so fast. You used to be afraid of them, now you love them. There you go. Look at that, eh? Yeah, there's nothing wrong with you'll get off your soapbox. There we go. A little buffering for everybody, but hopefully I'm back on track here. Just gets aggravating when OBS or my internet decides to give up. What do we got here? Bum, 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 bum. You were wondering if it was you or not? Nah, it was me this time around. I don't know why, it's just sometimes. Well, that should be it for the night there, everybody. I was just, I'll have to bring in some other photos there. I'm sure I've got them on a flash drive or something at work, but that's something I'll have to grab for next week. I hope everyone had an enjoyable time tonight. I had a great time chatting with you guys, talking about things that are going on. Paging Dr. Pop to machine surgery room. Sometimes, I feel like it. Don't get paid like a doctor, but it would be nice. So yeah. Shutdown's going on right now as we speak. We're in the heat of it right now. Like, I think they want to get the plant up and running by the 23rd. So we've still got a couple of weeks of shutdown to go. I'm going to be ripping apart one of the compressors for about 10 days. I started it today, was for day 1. So in about, if we don't work weekends, which I don't think we will, probably Wednesday, I should have it back together and running. And then it's off to repair some of the pumps. I've got some centrifugal pumps to rebuild as well. So yeah, try to get that done, hopefully with the help of my apprentice. Yeah, thanks, Ronnie G. It's always fun. I like having you guys come by too. You guys like listening to my stories and hearing about being in the skilled trades and seeing what's out there and hearing about all the shortages of skilled trades people that are needed. So yeah. So hey, I just gotta say thanks to everybody. Thanks Godzillionaire, thanks Whoopa, thanks DJ Ronnie G. Thanks Serranos, thanks for stopping by, and you too, Ronan66. It's always great to see new people pop into my stream. I mean, I know we chat on Blaine's channel there, Serranos, but yeah, thanks for coming in. Same with you, Ronan. And much appreciated. The Pop Culture Apprentice. That's a good second channel idea. Oh, wow. Coming up with the good ideas. Look at this. Yeah, well. Aren't we all apprentices, really, when you think about it? We're always learning. We're always making mistakes. Try to do our best, not get in trouble. So we're all apprentices in a way. So yeah, guys, please slap the like button or give me a follow if you're on Twitch. I really appreciate it. Everybody on Rumble, thank you. I appreciate your coming around. Please slap the like button. Helps me out. Just want to get a little more of a bigger audience on the Rumble side. Yet Comrade Leader makes no mistakes. Oh right, except for the Comrade Leader. He makes the no mistakes. Yeah, guys, spread the word. Tell everybody out there. There's a guy. His name's Pop. He talks about the skilled trades, plays games, talks about anime, all the fun stuff. All the fun stuff. There's other channels out there too. People that I watch personally and have interacted with, and they're good people. Like Pacific 4 and 4, or Blaine from Blaine's Escape Corner, and Ronan66, who was in the chat today. And there's DJ Ronnie G, and Brandon the Anime Guy, the Nerdporeal Lifeform. There's the Angry Canadian. And don't forget our own resident leader, Whoopa, who has his own channel, who was streaming just before I started. So yeah. And last but not least, there's Punkwaddle, who you can watch at Floral from Under a Rock. And on his own YouTube channel, where he has his ponderances. So you too can think the deep thoughts with Punkwaddle. I've got a Discord. It's called The Shop, because that's where all the tradesmen hang out. We hang out at the shop. It's a fun time. Shoot the breeze. I'm out there on Twitter. And I'm on Rumble. So coming up is Saturday. Game stream. I need to pick a new game to play, because I finished The Hobbit. And I'm wondering if I should move up from the Game Boy Advance to the Nintendo DS and see if there's some fun games to play on that system. So I'll have to I'm looking into that right now as we speak. I'm just checking out some of the games and seeing how fun they are to play. New Gameski time. We have New Gameski. In Soviet Russia, Gameplay U. Sunday coming up. Sunday Anime Chat. This month's theme is racing. All kinds of racing. And if you like speed, you like fast cars, you definitely want to tune in on Sunday, because that's what it's going to be all about. All about racing. And then I'll circle back again next Tuesday for Trades Talk Tuesday. It is during the week, so hopefully I don't have to work late. But I'll try to let everyone know whether it's going to be around or not. And hopefully it is, because I don't like missing Trades Talk Tuesdays. I think it's very important to get the word out and let you guys know that the skilled trades are important, and it's something that really needs to be expressed more, so that everyone can understand what they're all about, and they won't be looked down upon anymore. But yes, that is it for me, everyone. It's much appreciated that you guys were around. I'm very grateful, because if you don't have gratitude, then really, what do you have? You should always embrace the gratitude of the world. Grateful for the little things. And then it's all karma, and it'll all come back to you. That's the way I look at things. So once again, thanks everyone. This has been Pop, and I am signing off.